Welcome back to Wake Up America. I'm Rachel Roller. Economists are now warning that President Biden's massive $1.9 trillion COVID relief package will threaten the nation's economic stability and could potentially take the country back to the days of the 2008 financial crisis. Joining us now to discuss that, the former director of the United States Mint and contributor for Newsmax Finance, Ed Moy. Welcome to Wake Up America.
Morning, Rachel. Good to be with you.
We're so happy to have you. Now, Ed, using 2008 as a lesson, how could this record stimulus impact interest rates and the U.S. dollar?
Yeah, so I was the Mint director from 2006 to 2011, so I was there right in the center of the financial crisis. And one of the benefits that I bring to the table is experience. And during that time, what we saw was a tremendous amount of unprecedented stimulus. And that eventually drove gold prices crazy. And so there's a lot of fear of inflation as well as uncertainty around how the economy will recover.
You obviously have firsthand experience, as does President Biden. Being vice president at the time, he says he doesn't want to repeat the mistakes made during the Obama administration. Now, that stimulus package was around $800 billion. Similar inflation warnings like you're talking about. Biden claimed it wasn't big enough and that it prolonged the recovery. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so, he surrounded his team with basically the people that were around during the Obama administration. And in retrospect, when you take a look at it from their policy perspective, they believe that they didn't stimulate enough. And that's why the economy grew at a really modest fashion. So what you're seeing here is an overcorrection where they are throwing everything, the kitchen sink at this. And the markets disagree with that because you've seen rising bond yields. So the markets believe that there is going to be a robust, maybe an overheated recovery, and inflation's a really big fear.
So let's talk about inflation. Top economists, including the Federal Reserve Chairman, Treasury Secretary, they're saying that inflation is a solvable issue. Is that downplaying it, or what's the basis behind that?
Yeah, I think it's downplaying it because, the different stance this time around is the Fed is basically saying we're not going to start raising interest rates until we see the first signs of inflation. The problem with that is there's normally a 6 to 12 month lag in the inflation information. So when they see inflation starting to rise at an aggressive level, it's already 1 year too late.
Interesting. And I know you mentioned in 2008 the sales of gold going up like crazy with fears of inflation. It seems like people are actually steering away from their traditional assets like stocks and cash, and they're going for things like gold and Bitcoin, which we've been hearing about a lot the past couple of years. What would be your advice to people that do have that fear of inflation?
Yeah, so you put your finger right on what the issue is right now, is that individual investors are fearing this inflation. They don't have sophisticated derivatives like big institutions to hedge against that. And so they look to alternate assets, ones that aren't directly related to the price of the dollar. And that's really gold, silver, as well as Bitcoin. And when I was at the Mint, we saw our demand go up 700% for gold and 400% for silver. We were making so much of it, but yet we still couldn't satisfy demand. And that's what's happening today. When you look at an ounce of gold spot price today is about $1,735. You're lucky to find it, if you can even buy it, for $2,000. And so one of the byproducts of this is we've seen a proliferation of privately held bullion makers and making it in such small increments that normal Americans can afford it. I'm the chief market strategist for Bullion, and I can tell you that we have the same problem the Mint does today, which is we can't keep our products in stock.
You said if you can even find it. From my understanding, American Gold Eagles are completely sold out with the Mint. Is that correct?
Yes, so they were sold out when I was the Mint director during the financial crisis. They're experiencing the same thing today. And again, there are a lot of different ways you can buy bullion. Good luck finding it because it's the demand is so high for it.
And Ed, we only have a short time left. I do want to switch gears. We have about 30 seconds. Something we asked if you were comfortable discussing, taking a look at the shooting in Georgia, several Asian American women killed. We've seen this rise in anti-Asian American violence. The motive of this crime still under investigation, heinous regardless. What do you make of what happened?
Yeah, so, as an Asian American, that makes me reflect a little bit. But the stronger impulse for me is that I'm an American before I am an Asian American. I am a human being also. And so I'm sad about any loss of innocent human life. And it doesn't matter whether it's Asian or Black, Hispanic, white, or Native American. It's sad when these things happen. I weigh the human costs, the complications of how the killer got to where they are. And it just, I'm sad for everyone whose life is taken away prematurely.
So many different things to factor, and of course, unity, the goal that we saw at the start of this administration, and hopefully that will be something we can get to. Ed Moy, thank you so much for sharing your insight and, of course, your knowledge. Thank you for joining us.
Rachel, good to be with you this morning.
You as well.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.